The world has a strange way of hiding its real faces. Smiles mask secrets. Friendly nods hide silent plots. And the very people who clap for you in public may be sharpening their knives in private. It's a cruel reality few are prepared for. But today, you will be warned. Today, you will know that behind your back, they're planning this, and you must stay ready. It all started the day Aaron decided he was done playing small. He was tired of hiding his talents, tired of shrinking himself to fit into a mold others had built for him. With a quiet determination, he began taking bold steps, small ones at first, speaking up in meetings, offering fresh ideas, daring to show ambition. But what Aaron didn't know was that every step he took forward sent silent ripples through the very people he trusted most. In the beginning, they smiled. They said they were proud. They said they admired his courage. But somewhere in the depths of those compliments, something darker brewed, a slow bitterness, an ancient jealousy, a resentment they couldn't quite mask, no matter how much they tried. And while Aaron thought he was walking toward his destiny, a trap was quietly being stitched behind him. At first, the signs were barely noticeable. A missed message here, a subtle exclusion there. Invitations that once came freely now seemed to vanish into thin air. Aaron would brush it off, telling himself he was imagining things. After all, hadn't they always supported him? Weren't they his friends, his colleagues, his family? But the truth was like a shadow growing longer at sunset, unseen at first, until suddenly it swallowed everything. Late one night, Aaron sat at his desk, working on a project that could change his life. The room was dim except for the soft glow of his laptop. The silence was thick, almost too heavy, like the air was warning him. As he typed, a sudden instinct made him pause. Something was wrong. Deep down, he could feel it, an invisible force tightening around him, unseen but suffocating. The next morning, the whispers began. At first, it was small, harmless gossip, little things about his work ethic, offhand comments about his attitude. But it grew quickly. A rumor here, a half-truth there. Words were twisted, and actions were misrepresented. Before he knew it, a version of Aaron he didn't recognize had been created and paraded behind his back. They said he was arrogant. They said he thought he was better than everyone else. They said he was trying to leave them behind. The same people who once cheered for his dreams now sharpened their words like blades against his reputation. And all the while, they smiled to his face, a smile as hollow as an abandoned house. Aaron tried to fight back at first. He tried to explain, to clear the air, to reach out, but every attempt only seemed to tighten the net around him. The more he spoke, the more they twisted his words. It was like shouting into a storm, only to hear your own voice twisted and thrown back at you. One night, unable to sleep, Aaron walked through the empty streets of his town. The cold air bit his skin, and the streetlights buzzed overhead, casting long, crooked shadows on the ground. His mind raced with questions. Why would they turn on me? What did I do wrong? But deep down, another voice, quieter, colder, whispered the truth. You didn't do anything wrong. You just dared to shine. And in a world where mediocrity feels safer than excellence, nothing angers the small-minded more than someone refusing to stay small. The realization hit Aaron with a weight that almost brought him to his knees. It wasn't about his mistakes. It wasn't about any offense he had given. It was about his existence, his growth, his potential. Things they saw as threats, not inspirations. The people you trust the most are sometimes the ones who fear your success the greatest. And behind your back, they don't just gossip. They plan. They strategize. They set traps so intricate, so cruel, that when you finally stumble into them, you wonder if you ever truly knew them at all. Aaron returned home, that night a different man. No longer naive. No longer desperate for approval. He understood now that loyalty must be earned, not assumed. That applause can be hollow and smiles can be poisoned. From that moment on, Aaron moved differently. He spoke less and observed more. He listened to what was said and what wasn't. He watched the small shifts in body language, the glances exchanged when they thought he wasn't looking. He stopped explaining himself to those committed to misunderstanding him. Instead, he poured his energy into his craft, his purpose, his calling. He learned that when they plan behind your back, the greatest weapon you have isn't confrontation. It's preparation. It's building yourself so strong, so unshakable, that their schemes crumble before they reach you. It's not about matching their pettiness. It's about towering over it. The months passed, and Aaron's success became undeniable. His projects flourished. Opportunities found him. Doors opened that once seemed bolted shut. And with each step higher, the whispers grew louder, until finally they choked on their own bitterness. But make no mistake, the betrayals still stung. The loneliness still bit. The hardest battles are the ones fought in silence, against invisible enemies cloaked in friendship and familiarity. One evening, as Aaron stood on the rooftop of his apartment building, looking out over the glittering city lights, he realized something profound. Their betrayal was a gift. Their jealousy was a compass. Their plots, their whispers, their unseen hatred. It all revealed who was meant to walk with him into the future, and who was meant to stay behind. He smiled to himself, a real, quiet smile, as the cold wind wrapped around him like a reminder. Stay ready, it whispered. Always stay ready, because behind your back, they're planning. But ahead of you, destiny is calling. And no matter what they scheme, no matter what they whisper, no matter what traps they set, when you walk with purpose, when you move with resilience, their plans crumble beneath your feet. This is the truth they never wanted you to know. They're planning against you because deep down they know they cannot stop you. Aaron thought he had seen it all. The betrayals, the whispers, the silent plots brewing beneath thin layers of civility. He thought he had built a fortress around his heart strong enough to withstand anything. But life, as it often does, had other plans. It wasn't long after his quiet rooftop epiphany that the storm hit with full force. One crisp morning, as the city blinked awake under a veil of mist, Aaron arrived at his office to find chaos waiting. His project files were gone, wiped clean. His emails twisted against him, manipulated to make it seem like he had neglected vital responsibilities. A formal complaint had been filed against him, riddled with lies so intricate that, to the untrained eye, they almost seemed believable. Behind his back, they had orchestrated the perfect ambush. The people he had mentored, the ones he had lifted and encouraged when no one else would, were now the architects of his downfall. Their envy had fermented into hatred, and their fear had fueled action. No more whispers in the shadows. They wanted his fall to be public. They wanted him humiliated. Sitting in the sterile meeting room, with cold eyes glaring across the table, Aaron felt the weight of their betrayal crush against his chest. It would have been easy to react, to lash out, to rage, to defend himself with desperate, wild energy. But instead, he sat still, silent, calm, because Aaron had learned something most never do. The storm is loudest right before it collapses. He breathed deeply, steadying himself as their accusations filled the air. Let them speak. Let them lie. Let them empty their poison. They thought they were burying him, but they had only planted a seed. When the meeting ended, Aaron didn't fight for scraps of their approval. He didn't beg for understanding. He stood, nodded once, and walked out without a word. As he exited the building, the cold air hit him again, wrapping him in a silent embrace. And with every step he took away from that poisoned place, he felt lighter, freer, stronger. You see, sometimes life doesn't just remove fake people. It forces them to reveal themselves. Their plots are not your end. They are your emancipation. Aaron spent the next few weeks rebuilding. It wasn't easy. It wasn't glamorous. There were days he felt hollow, nights he barely slept, but he refused to crumble. Brick by brick, hour by hour, he constructed a new vision, one independent of those who betrayed him. He started a consultancy business, helping small companies and entrepreneurs thrive. Word spread quickly, not because of flashy marketing, but because of one unshakable truth. Aaron delivered results. While others were busy plotting, he was busy building. And success, true success, is louder than any rumor. Meanwhile, those who had schemed against him began to falter. Their focus on destruction had blinded them to their own decay. Without Aaron's leadership, their projects stumbled. Their alliances fractured. The very trap they had set for him became a pit they themselves could not escape. Poetic justice, silent and brutal. One evening, almost a year after the ambush, Aaron received an unexpected email. It was from one of his former colleagues, a long message filled with apologies, regrets, and thinly veiled requests for help. Aaron stared at the screen for a long moment, and then he closed the email without replying, not out of bitterness, not out of anger, but because he understood now. Some bridges are meant to stay burned. Some doors are meant to stay closed. Forgiveness is freedom, but reconnection is optional. Aaron had learned that staying ready doesn't just mean expecting attacks. It means expecting growth. It means being prepared for the loneliness that comes with elevation. It means understanding that every betrayal, every whisper, every hidden plan against you is a sign that you are moving, that you are threatening the comfort of those committed to mediocrity. On a quiet Sunday afternoon, Aaron sat at a small cafe overlooking the city skyline. He watched as people bustled about, chasing dreams, carrying secrets, living lives filled with invisible battles. He sipped his coffee slowly, feeling a deep, steady peace. He was no longer afraid of what was being plotted behind his back, because he had built himself into a force that could not be touched by whispers. They could plan. They could scheme. They could gather in dark rooms and craft their fragile conspiracies. It didn't matter. When your foundation is built on truth, no lie can uproot you. When your energy is focused on creation, no destruction can derail you. When your heart beats for a purpose greater than approval, betrayal becomes nothing more than a gust of wind against a mountain. Aaron understood now that the real battle is never against them. It's against the urge to shrink yourself in fear. It's against the temptation to play small so you don't stir jealousy. It's against the doubt that whispers, maybe you should just give up, but he wouldn't give up. And neither should you, because somewhere right now, behind your back, someone is planning. Maybe they're plotting your failure. Or maybe, just maybe, life itself is conspiring for your success. The setbacks, the betrayals, the lonely nights, they're all preparations. Preparation for the moment when you rise so high that the very ones who plotted against you must shield their eyes from your light. Stay ready. Ready not just for their attacks. Ready for your triumph. Ready for the doors that will open. Ready for the strength you're about to discover in yourself. Behind your back, they're planning. But ahead of you, greatness is waiting. So walk forward, unshaken, undeterred, unstoppable. Their plans may have been built in darkness. But you were made for the light.